Happy holidays, everyone! Last year, I made my own wish list for Nintendo's 2020, and I had a blast making it. So I thought I'd continue the tradition and make another one this year. While I know it's almost impossible that anything in my wish list will actually happen, there's no harm in trying. So, here is my Nintendo wish list for 2021. Enjoy! The first thing on my wish list is more customization on the Switch. The Switch has everything going for it. Great games, a cool concept, tons of ways to play multiplayer games, but it's just lacking that charm and memorability that the Wii and 3DS has. The Switch's user interface is so simple to the point that it's really just bland. It gets straight to the point. You bought a console for games, here are your games. But is going straight to the point always a good thing? There's almost nothing to do and no good menu music. To be a good console, you need menu music. Just look at the Wii. You got the classic Wii Shop and Wii Maker music, a bunch of unique channels to play around with, and that's what most people think of when they think of the Wii U, excluding its great lineup of games. The Switch's user interface is just so bland. What I'm proposing is menu and shop music, folders for your games, more profile pictures, and new backgrounds from the Switch's big games. I've heard a lot of people wanting this one, and this could open up so many possibilities. You could use in-game screenshots, cover art, concept art. If the Switch embraces these ideas, it could be a lot more memorable. I mean, Nintendo tried with the news tab and the album, but it really doesn't build up anything. Overall, I think these changes could make the Switch far more memorable and have a lot more of that Nintendo charm that was right in your face in the Wii, 3DS, and Wii U era. The next thing on my wish list is more first-party games on the Switch. You may be saying to yourself, Potato Sensei, doesn't everybody want more first-party games on the Switch? But hear me out. I love me a good Wii U port, spin-off, or collection, but I feel like we have just gotten way too many of these types of games over the Switch's lifetime so far. Don't get me wrong, the Switch has some great first-party games: Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Smash Ultimate, Animal Crossing, Pokemon, and a few more good ones, but just look at 2018. What first-party games come to mind? Smash Ultimate? Anything else? The rest of the Switch's games that year were Kirby Star Allies, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, DK Tropical Freeze, Mario Tennis Aces, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. I'm not even going to count that as a game. Seems like a lot of games, right? Let's take out the Wii U ports, then let's take out the remakes of older games, let's take out the spin-offs, and what we're left with is a pretty decently big game, but just not as big as the other first-party games. Don't get me wrong, Kirby is a big franchise for Nintendo, but it's just nowhere near Zelda or Mario in their fanbase sizes. So what we're left with is one big first-party game for Nintendo. Is that really that big of a year? You could do the same experiment with 2020 also. Pikmin 3 Deluxe, an actual deluxe edition, but still a Wii U port. Origami King, spin-off. Mario 3D All-Stars, a lazy collection that kind of just poops on the legacy of those games. And that leaves us with Animal Crossing New Horizons and Age of Calamity. Personally, I'd call Age of Calamity a half first-party game. It's a prequel to a big first-party Zelda game, but it's in the game style of a spin-off Zelda series. So we have 1.5 first-party games in 2020 and 1 first-party game in 2018. 2017 and 2019 both had a bunch of great first-party games, but it kind of shows how the Switch's massive collection of Wii U ports and spin-offs is kind of hiding how little big first-party games there are in the console so far. Don't get me wrong, the Switch has an amazing lineup of games so far: Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Pokemon, Animal Crossing, Smash, Luigi's Mansion, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It has some great games, but when your main Mario Kart game on the Switch is a Wii U port, and I know it's a deluxe edition, but it doesn't add any new tracks. The battle mode is nice, the characters that they made are new for the game are and they just don't add that much stuff. I know there's a lot of games on the Switch so far and it's great, but I feel like a lot of these games are just Wii U ports, spin-offs, or collections. So what I really want is for Nintendo to start revealing all these big games on the horizon. Breath of the Wild 2, Metroid Prime 4, Pikmin 4, a new 3D Mario game, probably Odyssey 2. They don't have to be big, huge reveals, but at least give us something. Even just a confirmation or development update like Metroid Prime 4 would be really nice. The Switch needs some big games and quick. The new fans that Nintendo got from games like Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey are starting to get impatient about when these new games are coming out. What I'm really hoping for is a big announcement for something at the start of the year, and for at least one or two more big things throughout the year. With the PS5 and Xbox Series X already out, Nintendo has a short lead in the big games, but they need to kick it up a notch, and quick. Another thing on my wish list are some massive changes to the Switch eShop. In the current time, the Switch eShop is a mess. It's laggy, overwhelming with garbage games, and its layout makes it impossible to find some cheap but high quality indie games. Nintendo makes all these directs and shows off these beautiful indie games, but whenever I go to the eShop, they're hidden under thousands of just plain trash. What I'm proposing is a top to bottom reconstruction of the eShop, a more concise and easy to look at menu, new music or just any music at all, and less games. You may be saying, isn't it good to have more games on the eShop? But there's a fine line between having a lot of games and just having too many games. I want a separate tab for first party Switch games, indie games, and I'll just say other releases. A tab for DLC, redeeming codes, Switch Online are also ones that I think would be really helpful when searching for new games, or just doing other things. While I never really went to the Wii or Wii U shop, I've heard so many childhood memories, and I feel like the eShop right now is just a cluttered, bland mess. Nintendo themselves said that they wanted more quality than quantity, but that's not what I'm seeing. A more well thought out eShop would be great, and help a lot of consumers find the right game to play on the Switch. The next thing on my wish list is more time being given to Nintendo Switch Online. As an online service, this platform is severely lacking in quality, but as a platform to play many classic Nintendo games for newcomers, Switch Online, or NSO I'll say, is perfect. I myself haven't been as critical of NSO because I myself being a new Nintendo fan, or a fan of games as a whole, this is a great way to play those older Nintendo games that paved the way for future generations. Having NES and SNES games brings a lot more value to the platform, and while I don't think we'll ever get GameCube, N64, or Wii games on it, the selection of NES and SNES games have satisfied me so far. As for the online, NSO just falls apart. Online servers are somewhat manageable, but for a massive company like Nintendo, you'd expect a service with much better connection and way less lag. It's been getting a bit better recently, but randomly getting kicked out of Smash Battles or disconnected from a Mario Kart race is extremely frustrating, and the lag in these games is unbearable at times. Mario Maker 2 is probably NSO at its worst, with lag that'll make Xbox and Sony look like gods. For $20 a year, the service is okay, but I'd like a lot more in the actual online department rather than legacy content. Getting GameCube or N64 games would be a dream come true, but I think Nintendo should focus more on better connection speeds and lag before bringing in past games. Overall, my experience with NSO hasn't been horrible. I mean, I've had a blast playing old NES and SNES games, but the online part of the service, which should be its top priority, falls short in a lot of areas. The final thing on my wish list has been on here all the way since I finished Pikmin 3 all those years back. Pikmin 4 is one of those things I yearn for every day of my life. And frankly, I think since Pikmin 3 Deluxe has made its way to the Switch, the chances of Pikmin 4 coming eventually have skyrocketed. 3 Deluxe has shown that Nintendo still cares about Pikmin, and some sweet sales can really boost the chances of 4 coming sometime in the next century maybe? Maybe the next 1,000 years, I'm not sure. Pikmin 1 and 2 came out on a not so well selling console, and when they were brought to the Wii, they sold pretty good, but they're still GameCube games. 3 was stranded on the Wii U, but 3 Deluxe is actually on a good selling console and feels like an actual deluxe version. Nintendo marketed the heck out of this game, and I think they just really want this game to sell well, and it's really great. Having some good sales will really help the Pikmin franchise, as it's been doomed to survive on Nintendo's worst selling consoles. Back in, we'll say, 2019, I was really doubting Pikmin 4's existence. I was starting to tear up because my most anticipated game ever may not be coming after all. It was a sad time to be a Pikmin fan, but when 3 Deluxe was announced, that spark ignited in me. And I firmly believe that Pikmin 4 will definitely come to the Switch, or maybe I'll say it better, a Nintendo console in the next billion years. It would be a dream come true. I've literally drawn out my own Pikmin games on a sketchbook. New enemies, new Pikmin, new areas. This, my friends, is the game I want the most. I don't care if it takes 100 years, even maybe a gazillion. If I'm alive when Pikmin 4 releases, then it'll be all worth it in the end. Thank you so much for watching. What's your Nintendo wishlist for 2021? Make sure to tell me in the comment section below. Potato Sensei, out.